Okay, here, this application is to sense label presence on this jar of delicious salsa. What I've got for this is this sensor here, this SME 312 CV2WQD. It is a convergent sensor, which really what that means, and you'll see in a second, is the emitter and receiver are actually pointed, toward each other at an angle so that you get a very focused beam of light at a specific distance. This one is about 45 millimeters. And that's kind of where you want to mount it. And here I've got it at an angle, which the little shine and the transparency of the bottle or the jar will actually help us not get a very good return of light off the salsa, but get a good return on the label, good enough return. So here, just to show you, there's my, I'm roughly between 40 and 45 millimeters away, which is where I want to be. Now we want to teach it. So the way we do this is we push this button for a couple of seconds until this light goes out. I want to get it where I can push and do the light. Here we go. And when the green light goes off, we are now in teach mode. So the yellow indicator means that I'm ready for my first teach. The red is very cool. It flashes in relationship to how good of a signal return we're getting. So technically the sensor does recognize the salsa is there, but then if I go over to this lightly colored label, you'll see that it starts blinking faster. So that's a representation of how much light is being returned from the target in front of it. And this one I used a white light. The Leutze was using an infrared. This one is using a white light, and it worked better than using a red light. That's what the little W right after the CV2W and the part number is. That stands for white LED. So what I want to do is I want to teach. The first condition you teach it is going to be on. So if I taught the jar of salsa first, that will be on. Or if I teach it the label first, that will be on. And on just means when the sensor gets the output conducted. So what I want to do, I want to rotate this label a little bit to find the slowest blinking red light, because that will tell me, see, that's pretty slow. That will tell me on the label what's kind of my worst case target. I'm going to keep doing this, so now it's speeding up. Clearly those lighter colors return the light better. Let's get here in this little valley right here. Oops, I timed out. Let's start over. I've been talking too much. All right. So I really think it's my little tomato over here. So I'm going to hold it there, push and release the button one time. Boop. I made the sound effect, not the sensor. My yellow light goes out, which means I'm ready for my second target. In this case, it's going to be my off, which is going to be just the salsa. You see the light beam right there. I'm going to push and release it one time. And if it's all enough contrast, we go to our green light, which is run mode. You'll see the yellow indicator is not on, which says that the sensor is not conducting its output. And if I go to the label, it turns on. I'm going to rotate this all the way around. Then when we go here, we should turn off. Now we're back on. So there I'm seeing the label and ignoring the jar when there is no label. So the way I understand the application, that's what we're trying to do. Does require a little bit of a teach. The distance is somewhat important. It can be plus or minus a little bit, but it is important because that's where we have the greatest intensity. Just to kind of give you an idea of that, if I take a white target here, see how it gets a little blurry there and focuses, and then it gets a little blur. Oops. Then it gets a little blurry there. So it focuses right about there and then gets a little blurry there. So that's what we're looking at. We'll quote this sensor. Bye.